You grew up on the sweat and the blood of black men and women who made America before your fathers got here. All of you Europeans, you recent immigrants that have found a home in America, and you are so happy, but you're walking on our blood. Our blood soaks the soil of America. We fought in the War of Independence from Britain. The first man to lay down his life for freedom he never enjoyed was a black man named Crispus Attucks. We fought on the side of the North and the South in the Civil War. Cotton was king. And we picked the cotton till our fingers were cut up and bruised. We baled the cotton. And you took it and sold it all over the world. So you got rich. And we got nothing. Now you going to tell me that the God of justice is pleased with you because of a Civil Rights Act, because of a Voting Rights Act, and then you walk around behind it and take it away from those who fought and died in the streets to get a chance to vote? This has been a hell of a country for us to live in. Come home with your uniform on and die under the lynch's rope. You made it from Korea, you made it from Vietnam, and died in Georgia on the road. Is this justice? Listen to what Elijah Muhammad said, and then we can wrap this up. The time of separation has arrived. Listen, listen. It is the end. Allah forced the Egyptians to go harder on the children of Israel to force them to accept to be separated. White folks are going to go harder on us because you don't want to leave. You don't want a land of your own. You don't want a nation of your own, though you paid for this one. Well, don't be surprised. God said he takes the kingdom from whom he pleases, and he gives it to whom he pleases. Now listen to this. Elijah Muhammad said, you are afraid of the white people. That's deep. Are you afraid? I heard a whisper saying that. Elijah Muhammad said, the more humble you act to him, the more evil he does. Being peaceful does not bring peace from them. That's why he said in Philadelphia, it is now time that we meet him with what he comes to us with. See? You think that your children are going to be free unless we make it so? You say, but we can't win. Wait. We can't win. They're too powerful. Look at all the weapons they have. Yes, they have it all. They have it all. But should that make you afraid to defend your life? What I come for as a policeman, if I come to take your life, don't you think you have a right to fight to protect and preserve your life? And if you die fighting, but you kill the man who's coming to take your life. Look. Listen to what he said. As Isaiah the prophet said, truth has failed. Whoa. Stop, Mr. Muhammad. Truth has failed. So what are you going to do when truth has failed to erase falsehood? Now, when a liar meets the truth is like light. The lie and falsehood is like darkness, so light vanishes falsehood. But when your truth has no power to make the forces of falsehood bow to the truth, that what truth seeks may come to pass, which is justice. Then Isaiah the prophet said, justice stands afar off, and equity cannot enter, because truth has fallen in the streets. So Elijah Muhammad says, then if truth has failed to erase falsehood, then you must resort to something more effective. That's right. What is more effective? He said, you must resort to physical force. Force it away, fight it away, destroy and get rid of it, because it is not persuaded by truth to do that which truth is asking. Now that's rough. That's rough. Now I'm going to show you, with Allah's help, why we've come to that point. Some of the brothers and sisters from Ferguson are here, and we honor them. Can we force it away? Can we fight it? Yes, sir. Can we destroy it? Yes, sir. No, you can't. You can fight it. You can try and die in the effort, which you will. Wait now. You just said fight it. Yeah, I did. But if you do, be prepared for what? And you have to, as you are prepared to die, you have to be prepared to take life.
All right, family, welcome to Shifting the Culture podcast. I'm your host, Brother King Cam, and I'm sure that many of you have heard about the unaliving of our sister Sonya Massey in Illinois a couple of weeks ago by a police officer. And what we want to discuss today is how we can prevent that from continuing to happen. We want to discuss how we can prevent that from continuing to happen, family. So the minister helped us to get an understanding of how we have to make our communities a safe and decent place to live and why that's extremely important. Because what has happened with our sister Sonya, and this is not something that's new. Many of us are familiar with these type of events because these events have happened on several different occasions. We can talk about Alton Sterling, Freddie Gray, Sandra Bland, Michael Brown, as the minister was talking about, Eric Gardner, Breonna Taylor. We can continue the list and list. Oscar Grant can continue to go on. So this is not something that's new. But what we have to do now is we have to begin to think about how we can prevent these things from happening. So as we read about what took place with our sister Sonya Massey in Illinois, the U.S. Today article says that visuals were planned across the nation Sunday in remembrance of Sonya Massey, a black woman whose fatal shooting by a white sheriff's deputy in her Illinois home has drawn national outrage in an effort by his union to get his job back. I believe is this Sunday. Yep, today. So today, even though it was raining here in Georgia. But as we continue, controversy surrounding the shooting intensified after the release last week of body cam video that captured the gruesome July 6th incident. Activists have declared Sunday a national day of mourning for Massey and the gatherings planned in New York, Los Angeles, St. Louis, Massey's home of Springfield, and other locations. Hundreds rallied over the weekend in Chicago, Brooklyn, and other cities at a Chicago Justice for Sonya rally Saturday in Federal Plaza. Black Lives Matter organizer Troy Gatson told ABC7's Eyewitness News residents came together to hear the voices of the community so that we can push back to stop the killings. On July 17th, Sangamon County Sheriff's Department Deputy Sean P. Grayson was fired and charged with first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct in Massey's death. He has pleaded not guilty and is being held without bond. The Illinois Fraternal Order of Police has filed a grievance saying he was fired without just cause and seeks his reinstatement, payment of lost wages and benefits, and any other appropriate relief. So as you can see, family, we are dealing with a people who have a problem with us. And as we are taught, are our open enemy. Now, whether you want to believe that or not is up to you, but their behavior speaks for itself. They are our open enemy. And they continue to use the badge as a shield to kill us openly. And what we have to do is change up our tactics. Now, as the article mentioned, there's peace rallies and a national day of mourning and calls for justice for Sonya Massey has taken place today all over the country. And that's a good thing. But now we have to begin to decide in our minds, and we have to mobilize, we have to organize, and we have to strategize on how we can make our communities a safe and decent place to live. Marching is not going to get it. There's an aspect of that we will continue to do, and it's a beautiful thing to bring awareness, but it's not going to bring change. We have to make our communities a safe and decent place to live, and that starts by stepping up to the plate. I'm talking to black men now. We have to step up to the plate, and we have to make ourselves available to secure our own communities. Now, I'm not talking about walking around with weapons. The Nation of Islam, the Fruit of Islam, we don't carry weapons. Any follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, any follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan doesn't carry weapons. So we don't operate like that when we are securing and patrolling our community. However, we have to make our presence known, and we have to put it in our minds that this is an apparatus that has to be in place so that our communities can be safe. Because as we see, if we continue to leave our safety, our livelihood up to these people who are in positions of authority, then we're going to continue to suffer the consequences of our decisions. That's what's going to happen. We're going to continue to suffer the consequences of our inability to listen. So the minister talked about in that video that in scripture, the Egyptians made it harder on the children of Israel. Moses came to the children of Israel telling them they have to separate from Pharaoh. God has come and has given me, Moses, a word. And the word is separate. And for me to go to Pharaoh to tell him to let my people go. That was the mission of Moses. And in Moses fulfilling his mission, the children of Israel have to now go up and out and away from the land of Pharaoh. But they didn't want to do that. They didn't believe in Moses like that. They didn't believe in the God of Moses like that. So they was giving Moses all this pushback. They was giving Moses all this excuse for why they can't separate. They was talking about how, big and bad Pharaoh was, and how they was raised up under Pharaoh. So they had no idea that they had the ability to go for themselves. They didn't know that there was a higher power than Pharaoh. So because they didn't know that, they gave Moses a hard time. But Moses came speaking separation. Moses came teaching separation, independence, land of your own. And today, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan have been teaching and preaching us the same thing. Separation, independence, land of our own. But look what took place. Because the children of Israel did not want to listen to Moses, then what God did was intensify the heat from the Egyptians on to the children of Israel. Made it even rougher for the children of Israel until they got it in their mind that the only answer to the problems that the children of Israel were under was to separate from their open enemy. All right? Separation. So what does the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad tell us on the back of the Final Call newspaper in the Muslim program, family? Shout out to those who are tuning in. So what does the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad say? He says that in point number 4, that since we cannot get along with them in peace and equality after giving them 400 years of our sweat and blood and receiving in return some of the worst treatment human beings have ever experienced, we believe our contributions to this land and the suffering forced upon us by white America justifies our demand for complete separation in a state or territory of our own. That's what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has given us as a solution to our problem. And the minister goes on to elaborate and explain to us why that is important and necessary. Okay? But we're going to continue to see this until we understand that what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us was right and exact. See? So listen to this, because he goes even further in point number 5. In the back of the Final Call newspaper in the Muslim program, under what the Muslims want. He says in point number 5, we want freedom for all believers of Islam now held in federal prisons. We want freedom for all black men and women now under death sentence in immutable prisons in the North as well as the South. We want every black man and woman to have the freedom to accept or reject being separated from the slave master's children and establish a land of their own. Now, this is the key. This is the point. He says, we know that the above plan for the solution of the black and white conflict is the best and only answer to the problem between two people. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to say it again, family. We know that the above plan for the solution of the black and white conflict is the best and only answer to the problem between two people. All right? That's just what it is. Oh, I can't even hit my thing. Oh, my bad. Hold up. Oh, yeah, there we go. You couldn't even hear that at first. I wanted to hit the horn to emphasize my point. But the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is telling us that we know that the above plan for the solution of the black and white conflict is the best and only answer to the problem between two people. That's it. That's it. So we shouldn't have to continue to live through these traumas, especially on social media where the body cam footage is released. The video is all over social media. We watching it. We getting more traumatized. We becoming sensitized to violence and murder and all these different things that are taking place. There's so much that's happening on the psychological level when you watch these videos that it becomes normalized. And we begin to believe that it's normal for officers to come into our community and wreak havoc. And that's not normal. That's not normal at all. So listen to the minister as he highlights the solution that he proposed to clean up our communities and make them a safe and decent place to live. He, back in 2015, appeared on the Rock Newman show and discussed 10-10-15 and the 10,000 Fearless and what the mission and goal of 10,000 Fearless was. So take a listen to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as he talks to us about the 10,000 Fearless and the purpose and mission.
Yeah, I'm bringing 10,000 into the hood. Our community is a cesspool. Giuliani said it right. Y'all talk about white police killing black people, but you all killing each other more than we kill you. He didn't tell a lie. Every weekend we putting our people in hospitals. Every weekend our women can't walk the streets in peace. Our elderly are afraid. Our children are slaughtered. We've got to stop this. How can I go to Washington and you come with me and we talk about what the government is doing, and we are not talking about what we should be doing to bring peace in our own community?
I absolutely wanted to ask you about the responsibility of those in our community.
Well,
how do you address that?
We're raising 10,000 Fearless. What is their mission? Their mission is to stand in the gap between the guns. No punk could do that. No coward could walk with us and do that. You got to be fearless to walk in between guns of Bloods and Crips and guns of disciples and others killing each other. We love our people. That's our power. No preacher can go in the community and stop this. Reverend said to me a few weeks ago, Farrakhan, if I send my deacon out there, he's not going to get no results. But if you send your people out there, the young will listen. Why is that, Reverend? because we love our people. We don't go to our people with guns. We don't carry guns. No follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is allowed to carry as much as a penknife. We are a people of peace, but we will fight with those who fight with us. So we're going into the community, but we want 10,000, but we got to train you, brothers, because you're filled with self-hatred. And we cannot allow you to deal with our people with a heart filled with self-hatred. But if you come to us, we will train you, we will teach you, so that your heart is filled with love for the people that you're going to serve and the people you're going to protect. And after we train you, we go into that community and make peace between our brothers, set up conflict resolution so that our women and children can play again in the streets and our elderly can walk the streets and feel safe. That's what the 10,000 fearless are for. And I believe there'll be 10,000 rising up in practically every major city who want to help bring peace in our community. But my dear brother, when that happens, you're going to expose the rogue cops. You remember Darren Wilson?
I do.
Darren didn't want to work in no white community. Why you want to work in the black community, Darren? So you can play God with a gun and a badge? So you can arrest black people who have done nothing? So you can kill us at will because you know the prosecutor is your friend, the union is your friend, the chief is not going to stand up. And so you kill us. You rape our women. Oh, yes, you do.
The Darren Wilson, by the way, that you're speaking of, is the gentleman that shot Michael Brown in Ferguson.
Yeah, that's him.
Ferguson,
That's him.
Missouri, right?
That is he. Well, when you shoot us down like that, the prosecutor rigged the grand jury. You know, the grand jury can indict a mouse or anything, a pig, anything that they want to indict. Who the hell wants them to be our judge and we got to go before them for justice? The prosecutors are liars. Look at that judge who came off the bench after they shot my sister, Melissa Williams, and Timothy Russell 137 times. And only one had to go to court, and the judge made sure that he showed where all the bullets went in, and that man walks. No others are indicted. If you and I today say, brother, we ain't got enough money, let's go rob the bank. You get your 45, I'll get my sawed-off shotgun, and we go in, and I'm passionate, as you can see, and I shoot somebody. Now, you in there with me. When they catch me, and I'm going to tell them who was with me. You know, that's what we do. And when you go to court and I go to court, I shot the man, but you were with me. Who goes to jail? Both of us. Who's charged with murder? Both of us. All of those that stood up on that car and shot those people, where are they? Where's the justice? See, that's what I'm talking about, America. That's what I'm talking about, black people. All this crap got to end, and nobody's going to end it until we unite like black intelligent men and women should and put a stop to our own evil toward each other and the evil that others practice on us.
We've got 10 minutes left.
Is that all?
All right. So that's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. See, we can't sit around and continue to wait and ask for somebody to come and do what we have the power to do for ourselves. That's why we don't see no change, because we waiting on somebody else to come and fix what's happening in our communities, what we have the power to do ourselves. We just got to stop being lazy. We got to stop being afraid. We have to stop being scared, and we have to put the work in. We was taught that we was going to get heaven for nothing, you know, that we was just got to die, and then we was just going to be in heaven and everything was going to be all right. That's not true. And that's shaped the mindset of us, so we don't even believe that we have to work in order to get peace. No, we got to work to get peace. We got to struggle to get peace. You live in a world that's opposite of peace. So how do you think you're going to get peace unless you struggle to get it? How do you think you're going to establish peace unless you put the work in to establish peace? Blood, sweat, and tears went into the establishment of America. Blood, sweat, and tears have to go into the establishment of a new reality for black people if you really want that to be true. If you really want that to be true. So we got to go ahead and clean our own house up. We got to clean up our own communities. And that's important. So the minister said he was quoted in a Final Call newspaper article, recent Final Call newspaper article, where it was talking about injustices in our community. And it says here that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, let me show y'all. It says that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has consistently taught that true justice comes from the God of justice, and that it is up to black people to work together with one another to make our communities safe and decent places to live. The minister, like his teacher, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, also warned that separation from our open enemy is the best and only solution for both blacks and whites. We got to separate. We got to. Because it's unnatural for us to be together with one who is an open enemy to you. You don't live in the same vicinity or cohabitate with one who is an open enemy to you. You know, like take an example when you look at Africa and you see the lions out there in Africa. You don't see the gazelles and the zebras laying across the way from the lions. No. Now, they all occupy the same landmass, but the herds of the gazelles and the zebras and the wildebeest, they constantly moving. Why? Because they know that their enemy, the lion, the cheetah, the leopards, they all out there. So they have to continuously be on alert, and they have to always be looking. Always got to be vigilant to find out, okay, where the enemy might jump out at, where he might spring out at. See, so they got the mindset to understand this. They know that lions exist. They know that hyenas exist. They know that leopards and cheetahs exist. They know that they got an open enemy. So to avoid death, then their mindset is we got to keep moving. We got to stay alert. We got to put ourselves in position so we don't get taken out. Well, how is it that we, as human beings, as black people in particular, don't recognize that we have an open enemy and that this open enemy has done evil to us? There's a resume. There's a history. We're not just saying this and talking about this out of thin air. They actually have a track record of doing this. So because they have a track record of doing this, then our response to them should be different. We should be gladly welcoming a plan, a blueprint, and an infrastructure that says we need to separate. We should be gladly looking for something like that. So we getting out of here, but I want to go ahead and read from Message to the Black Man what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said about separation and independence, because some of us don't believe that we can actually be separate and we can be independent and we can be successful, even though there's a history of us doing that too. So we didn't have social media when there was a Tulsa, Oklahoma. We didn't have all the degrees, a master's degree and a doctorate degree when there was a Rosewood in Florida. We didn't have all of the conveniences of modern technology when we was developing Auburn Street in Georgia. So how is it that we can develop all of that back then without all of the education and the modern technology, but today somehow we feel like we can't get it accomplished? Think about that. Now, on page 203, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says this: with the right understanding and with business unity, we can turn the great flow of millions of dollars that leave black communities and go into the hands of white businessmen back into the pockets of the poor black man and woman who would benefit most by it. How can we do this? First, we must stop being so foolish as to spend our few earned dollars with the rich of this land. That's number one. So we got to curb our appetite for spending money. Number two, not number two, but then he said, those of us who are wealthy or rich should help set up independent businesses which our people need and which could add add wealth to our communities. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is talking to those of us who got a couple dollars now. Those of us who are millionaires, a few billionaires, should do what? Should help set up independent businesses which our people need and which could add wealth to our communities. Talking to Floyd now. Talking to LeBron now. Talking to Oprah. Talking to Tyler. Set up independent businesses which our people need. Okay? With such cooperation, our own businessmen could actually help lower prices and provide employment for the multitude of unemployed. The multitude of unemployed. But to be successful, we must have some of this earth to produce our people's needs. So we have to have farmland. We have to have land. You can't do this if you don't have land, because you have to be able to produce something for yourself. For example, in Chicago, Illinois, as well as other communities throughout the country, the black man is robbed through giant cut rate stores owned exclusively by white men who make it almost impossible for independent stores owned by black people to survive. We cannot compete in business unless we unite and get some of this earth so that we can produce our own people's needs. It is the right time that we seek separation and independence for our nation from the evils of our open enemies and not the foolish things other organizations are doing. They want our people integrated into our open enemies to be destroyed as a people. They seek that recognition, which demands better qualifications, education, the knowledge of self and others, manners, and self-respect and the respect of others. But our people just do not have these qualifications until they first come to Islam and bear witness to what Allah God has revealed to me. No intelligent and refined society will accept us until we have the above stated qualifications. So before we can seek help from other civilized nations, we have to have what? Education. We have to have the knowledge of self and others, manners, self-respect, and the respect of others. Those are the qualifications that we have to have moving forward. And that's why we got to unify. That's why we got to bring peace. That's why we got to stop all of the foolish arguments that take place amongst one another. That's why we have to have conflict resolution so that we can get rid of all the petty beefs that we have in our community. This is why we got to listen. We got to stop thinking that we know, because we've been operating off of what we know up until this point. Now, there's a track record of those who follow the teachings to straighten themselves up and to become educated, to have the knowledge of self and others, to have manners, self-respect, and to gain the respect of others. Look at Malcolm X. He became educated. He got the knowledge of himself and others. He was a mannerable brother, self-respected, and other people respected him. He got all of that through the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And you know where he started at? As a criminal. Huh? So that is proof in transformation if you apply what you learn. If you will first get rid of the ego, open up your heart, open up your ears, listen, and then apply what you learn, you can see transformation in your life. And then we'll be able to apply that to the community. We'll see transformation in our community. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad tells us that no intelligent and refined society will accept us until we have the above stated qualifications. We, once slaves, have grown to be a nation of 20 million at that time or more, and a nation that enslaved our fathers and to this day has deprived us of equal justice. under their own laws, no equal civil rights, most of us are treated by white citizens of America as animals. It is common to see and hear of white mobs attacking, beating, and shooting down poor blacks whose fathers and mothers' labor, sweat, and blood helped make America the richest government on earth. Nevertheless, we are yet the most hated and mistreated people. So, as we see with our sister Sonya Massey's death, that these people still don't see us as equal. They don't give a damn about no voting rights bill. They don't care nothing about no civil rights bill. They don't care anything about you trying to reform the system that was set up the way it was set up to do what it's doing, which is to give justice to them and continue injustice for us. They don't give a damn about that. And this is why God said you have to separate. If there was a chance for reform during the time of Pharaoh in Egypt, then the children of Israel didn't need to leave. If there was a chance of reform in Egypt, then the children of Israel didn't need to leave, because Moses would just go in, him and Aaron would have went in, talked to Pharaoh, sat down, they would have came to some type of agreement, then they would have been able to reform the law of the land that would have accepted the children of Israel. They wouldn't have been enslaved to the Egyptians and everything would have been fine. But that's not how the scripture went. Why? Because God already knew that there was no reform in that system. Just like God knows in America, there's no reform in this system. So the only option, the only solution is separation. So what does the most honorable Elijah Muhammad come and tell us through his servant, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that you have to separate? It's time to get some land of your own so that you can do something for yourself and produce the needs of your people. That is how we remedy this problem. This is how we remedy the injustices that take place. Because you think you're going to go to Washington with a reformation bill? You think that you're going to go to these senators and these representatives with some type of legislation that you want to get turned into policy? You think you're going to go to them, the children of your open enemy, and they're going to grant you that and afford you that freedom? If that was in their hearts and minds to do, then they would have done it. Now, America didn't just get here. They didn't just form this government like 2 days ago. Now they've been had these representatives and these senators, and they've been killing us, and we've been hung, and we've been killed, and we've been maimed, and we've been raped, and we've been injured, and we've been unjustly murdered. This is something that's constantly taking place since we've been in America. So if it was in their hearts and minds to reform, then it would have taken place. So we have to stop acting mentally ill on this particular point, believing that they are going to give us justice. No, we have to give ourselves justice, family. That is the intelligent thing to do. That is the smart thing to do. And how do you give yourself justice? You begin the separation process first mentally. That's the first step in beginning the separation process, getting with like-minded individuals, getting with those who think like you, who want to separate from this system and pooling our resources so that we can do something for ourselves. So what is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said? He said this right here. He says, firstly, some of this earth that we can call our own. That's number one. We got to get that. We got to pool our resources to buy some land. He said, without some of this earth that we can call our own, we cannot hope to even become a free nation out of the nation of the slave master. See, the smart thing about the Europeans who became Americans is they went and got some land. Now, they didn't buy no land. They stole it. We don't want to follow their example. We want to purchase the land the right way. We want to get land the right way. But you have to have land to establish yourself as a nation. They stole the land from the natives and established themselves as a nation. We have to obtain the land righteously and establish ourselves as a nation. So he goes on to say that it is far more important to teach separation of the blacks and whites in America than prayer. Wait a minute. He says that it's far more important to teach the blacks and the whites separation in America than prayer. Because you can sit down and pray with your open enemy. They don't have no problem with you doing that. Your open enemy can come and give you the greetings. Assalamu alaikum. They don't care nothing about that. They don't have no, they're not moved by any of that. That's why it's far more important to teach separation of the blacks and whites in America than prayer, because you can pray for your solution, and then your solution is separation, and you don't even recognize it because you have become so institutionalized in the mind of this unnatural cohabitation that you involved in that you don't even realize that you with your open enemy. Cats and dogs not even supposed to live together. If you got a cat or a dog, you're supposed to keep them separated because they are natural enemies. Well, when you able to see the cat and the dog lying down together, that is an unnatural relationship. That is unnatural. And the dog and the cat have lost the natural instincts and lost the natural understanding of their nature that says that they are naturally enemies. See? But that's because the nature of the dog has been tampered with. The nature of the cat has been tampered with. Because in the beginning, when you bring them into the same environment, the dog is natural. So he's going to go after the cat. So what you do to change that behavior is you correct the dog. And you correct the dog and you correct the dog until the dog starts to change his thinking. And then he says, and his thinking tells him, no, you're not supposed to go after the cat. But there has been an outside force that has changed the natural behavior that the dog and the cat display. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that has happened to you and I, that our natural instinct has been curbed by an outside force, so much so that we don't think that these people are our open enemy. Even when you get that thought in your mind and that feeling in your stomach, you fight against it. Why? Because you've been trained. You've been corrected. You have been socialized. You've been engineered to believe that these people are really your friend. And that's not the case. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that teach and train the blacks to do something for self in the way of uniting and seeking a home on this earth that they can call their own. There is no such thing as living in peace with white Americans. Woo! There is no such thing as living in peace with white Americans. You and I have tried without success. Look what white Americans did to my followers in Los Angeles, California on April 27, 1962. They know that we, the Muslims, are a peaceful people and do not carry arms, but the heartless enemy, devils, care not for peace. They were created and made to hate peace. Night and day, they are out seeking a chance to beat and kill you, while at the same time you are out seeking to show them how much you love them. And very foolish people you are. How can anyone other than you, so-called Negroes, love an open enemy? So I'm leaving you with that, family. We have to now take our own destiny in our hands. We have to do what we have to do in order to establish peace in our community, make them a safe and decent place to live. And that means we have to now begin to plug in with community organizations and those who are putting together any type of strategies, mobilization, and organization around cleaning up and making our community safe. You need to get involved locally. See, you got to stop spending time taking trips and spend more time in your community figuring out how you're going to make it safe and decent. Because, see, you're going to go on a trip and come back, and then you still going to have the same problem that you did before you left. You understand? We got to stop spending time going out, spending time and money doing foolish things when we got stuff that's happening right in our community that we should be spending our time on and putting our energy towards. That's just real. So you can go into your city and go to your local mosque and inquire about the 10,000 Feelers and how you can be a part. Or if there's another organization that you know that's working on community safety, community patrols, then you can go and be a part of that as well. But we all have to put our hand on the plow and do something so that we can help establish the land of our own so that we can live in peace. That's what we got to do, family. So I leave you all in the greetings of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings, family. And until next time on Shifting the Culture podcast.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like